So welcome back to another episode, and this is my revised top 10 video games of all time list. And it's a revised list from nearly 10 years ago when I first came onto YouTube. I did a video, my top favorite video games of all time. And I really wanted to do a brand new update video because it's nearly been 10 years. How have my tastes changed over the years? Some games got bumped off, some games got put on. It's really fascinating. And this is, I can't wait to get into this because there's a lot of subtle changes and there's a lot of non-subtle changes. And I'm still happy that I'm kind of the same as what I was 10 years ago, but it goes to show that I've opened up to a few different types of games. And so let's start off with, first of all, saying this is my personal top 10 list. This is not an official top 10 list of the best video games of all time. These are just personal ones to me, emotional games that move me in my life. What are some of your top 10 games of all time? Let me know down below. And so one game that did not change on the list from 10 years ago till today is Shenmue. Shenmue is an all-time classic by Sega and Yu Suzuki. A game that I came home, I plugged it into my Dreamcast, I started playing it, and I was transported back into 1986 with Ryo. And what a journey it was, and I don't think I expected it to be as all-encompassing and as brilliant and as in-depth as what it was. An open sandbox game, which at the time was a brand new concept realistically. Being able to just traverse around Japan and do whatever you wanted to do during that time period was absolutely brilliant. And I just loved the action RPG mechanics that went into it all. And it's just one of those ones that stands the test of time to me personally. And I'm totally waiting for Shenmue 3. I'm looking forward to that. I backed the Kickstarter, so that has not changed from the list. And another game that has not changed from the list, and how could it? Castlevania Symphony of the Night. How could that game change? There was no fucking way in hell it was going to change. I absolutely love this game. I was 22 years old at the time with all of my friends. We sat up all night playing the hell out of it. And we still didn't even scratch the surface of that castle, especially when we transferred the castle upside down, and we were always working on the last couple of percent of the game. I think I finished the game like 5 or 6 times. I love it, and I could sit down and just go through it again. And it was such an amazing thrill for me to be able to interview the creator of Castlevania Symphony of the Night, Koji Igarashi. I got to do that at New York Comic Con. It was a bit of a dream come true, but that game was not getting off the list. Here's another game that has not changed from my original list. It's so amazing. I was like, there's no way this is leaving the list. There's been a lot of Metal Gear games. There's been a lot of controversy with Metal Gear since Kojima has left. But that does not take away from some of the amazing things he did with the earlier installments of the series. And I really love all the Metal Gear games, I really do. But there was one that stood out in particular to me. Do any of you guys remember what my pick was from nearly 9 to 10 years ago? Metal Gear Solid 3, Snake Eater. This game's emotionally impact on me was beyond reality. The story of Big Boss and all of the characters in the Cold War setting, the music, everything about it, the blending in, the snake eating in it. I absolutely fell in love with the game. I remember racing on the highway home from work just so I could get in to go up against the final boss in the game, and it's haunting. That game is a very special game. The storyline, it's a Metal Gear game that does so much more. And a lot of the games do so much with their story, but that one actually brought me to tears at times. There was a lot of emotion in it. This was a really hard one for me to do, a hard one for me to pick. This is based on nostalgia, and it kind of bumped another one off the charts for me, but if am I allowed to do this? I'd like them both to be there. And that would be for Dragon Quest IV and Final Fantasy IV, which is Final Fantasy II over here. I need to represent both those series because I love them so much, and both of those games are my favorite in the series. I can't take one without the other, and I have to have them both there. Dragon Quest was a very important game for me, but I remember being in high school playing 4, and it was absolutely mesmerizing, playing as all the different characters. I mentioned it so many times before, and having them all come together at the end into one massive group. And I really enjoyed that. And Final Fantasy II, which was 4 in Japan, on the Super Nintendo, seeing that Mode 7 opening with the introduction of the airships going to Baron, the storyline of Cecil becoming a paladin, going to the moon in that game. That's all I need to say. I love both those games, and I'm going to make a cheat on that one. I had it written down, and I'm like, I don't know which one to pick. I can't bump one for the other. They're both going to be there. Now, there's a lot of Mario games out there, and all of them are fantastic in their own unique ways, and I do love them all of them. But there's one game, and again, nostalgia here, folks. Nostalgia. This is why it's my personal top 10 list. Super Mario Bros. 3. What an important game from my childhood. A game that was incredible in so many ways. Coming off Mario Bros. 1, which was really good, into Mario Bros. 2. As a kid, I was like, how can it get any better? And it got better. I was in Hawaii. I was playing a player's choice machine, and that's where I first played Super Mario 3, and I was like, oh my god. And I remember skipping school all of the time in the afternoon to go up to a local 7-Eleven that had that same machine just to play Mario Bros. 3. And I brought my lunch money, and I'd just be playing the machine. The owners of the 7-Eleven would be like, hey, don't you have a class? I'm like, no, I'm out early. And I'd just be playing. And I was in it's a certain time in my life. I know I was a younger person for it, but it was the right game at the right time. And it holds up extremely well to this day. There's so much charm in there. And there's a lot more moderner Mario games, but I'm going to go back to the past with that one. This game would have to be on the list still. It could not have changed at all, and I don't think it'll change to the day I die. It's the easiest choice for me to make. Street Fighter 2. I'll take the arcade version, I'll take the Super Nintendo version, I don't care. I'll take all the versions of Street Fighter. But Street Fighter 2 changed video gaming forever, and it changed me in high school, going into the arcade, seeing Street Fighter 2, and was like, whoa, I can compete against my friends, and everybody in the arcade became so good at their own individual characters, and there was such rivalries, and we had so much fun. And it was the game that kept on giving over and over and over again. You never got bored of playing it. I'm still not bored of playing it all of these years later from the 1990s. It's a testament of how brilliant of a game concept it is. And Street Fighter 2 has to be on the list. Don't worry, guys. We're going to get to some modern games in a second. But I am, again, got to go back to the past. This game is still on the list as well. In 10 years, I still encompass this game as an important game in my childhood and in my life for role-playing game fanatics, action RPG fanatics. Ysbooks 1 and 2 on the Turbo Graphics was groundbreaking at the time, and I fell in love with it. The CD stereo soundtrack blew my mind, upset my family on the loudspeakers that Christmas morning when I played it. The anime cutscenes, the adventure, I just fell in love with this game, and it changed me forever. I'm still a die-hard Ys fan for life. I will always promote the series to the best of my ability, and it is a nostalgic memory once again, but I could still pick up Ysbooks 1 and 2, go in the other room and finish it, and have the best time of my life. I finished the game, I don't even know, over 10 plus times. I don't even remember how many times it is. I can do it in my sleep. I remember it that well, so easy choice. Now we get to bring in a modern game. A game that has seen quite a few releases over the years, and it's still getting releases to this day. And that is because the game is that good. It really, really is that good. And so many players out there, alongside myself, fell in love with it. And that game is Skyrim. Skyrim. I love the Elder Scrolls series. I fell in love with Morrowind. But when Skyrim came out, it kind of took my breath away a little bit. I was like, this is the game I've always envisioned. This is the game I've always imagined. I've always wanted. When I was in high school and I was playing a lot of the older school games, I was always imagining Skyrim. and like that this one day this game would be made, and I never thought I'd actually see it in my lifetime. So I'm thrilled that they made it, and I had the best time of my life walking around the world. And I wasn't just playing the game, I was in it, living it, and I was not in this real world for all the time that I was playing it. And isn't that why we play video games? For a bit of escape. And Skyrim gave me an escape in a way that I hadn't felt in quite a few years. It blew my mind. Now we get into my second favorite game of all time. And I have to do something that you won't believe. I'm going to do it to you. I am. The nostalgia can't put this at number one. It is number one in my heart for all of time. But my number one game is my number one game now. My second favorite video game of all time is Phantasy Star on the Sega Master System. I first discovered it in 1988 at a friend's house. We went over there during summer vacation, and my friend had brought this back from the United States, and I stared at the screen, this little screen like this big, and I was like, oh my god, Phantasy Star is a role-playing game on the Sega Master System, and it blew my mind by Yuji Naka and his team, the 3D dungeons, the setting, the 3 different worlds you could explore. It was everything to a 14-year-old kid you could ever want. And it made me become a video gamer for life, and that's why that video game is so important to me. And trust me, it is number one in my heart. My heart's number one. I love it so much. I sit sometimes out on the summer on the patio having a drink on a night, and I'll listen to that music on my headphones, and it just like, whoo, hold back the tears, because it just takes me back to a really sweet time of innocence in my childhood when everything was fresh and everything was new, but yet Phantasy Star was ahead of its time. And for JRPGs, it was like, wow. And it even blew away games like Dragon Warrior when they eventually came out over here. The drum roll, please. It was earlier this year that I picked up a game that I thought, oh, okay, another one in the series. I've enjoyed the last ones in the series. I'll go through the motions again and I'll enjoy it. I didn't think it would become my favorite video game of all time, and it's taken me quite a few months to process it, that it was. It took me quite a long time to process it. The graphics are good in the game, but it's not about the graphics. The storyline is average in the game. It wasn't about the storyline to me in this game. It was all about the gameplay. And that game is Breath of the Wild, Zelda Breath of the Wild. A game I went into thinking I was going to enjoy as just another Zelda game, another continuation of the series. Well, fuck, I was completely wrong. I was so taken back by it. And there was some, at first, before they fixed it on the Switch, there's some, glaring, frame rate issues and things like that. But Breath of the Wild blew my fucking mind out of my head. I couldn't believe the gameplay, the depthness to the game, and all of the amount of things that you could do. In a way, Zelda had finally become a role-playing game in that I could finally really level up my character. I could make my character as strong or as weak as I wanted. And I couldn't believe the freedom it gave me that I could go anywhere and do anything at any time. And I've said it before early in the year, my final thoughts. There was at one point in the game, I turned to my wife and I'm like, I don't think I can play this game. And she's like, well, why not? I said, I'm just so lost. I'm just so lost. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. I felt like this big in a massive ocean. But the more and more I played the game, the more and more I, was able to grasp my hands on how the gameplay worked and how the game world worked. And the more I played it, the better at it I got, in a different sense than other video games. Other games sometimes it's trial and error. This game is so brilliantly conceived. I mean, it is geniusly conceived that I know, like, it's hard to describe that the more you access the world, the more you unlock, the more you go, oh, I can do that over here, and I can take this and take that over here, and I can do this and do this. The level of manipulation within the world environment for an open world game I didn't think Nintendo had it in them. I've said that before. I'm saying it again. Breath of the Wild absolutely takes my top spot. And I came into this year not thinking that there was going to be a game that would bump Phantasy Star from my top spot. How could anybody take away my childhood 14-year-old, amazing experience as that? And nobody is. Phantasy Star, as I say, I gotta keep saying it, it's still there. But Zelda was it was such a breath of fresh air into the genre of Zelda. And I'm not saying that I was getting bored of Zelda, but I think I was hoping they would go back to the original Legend of Zelda, which I love so much. And that's what they did. And that's why even Zelda bumped off Zelda 1, because everything I love so much about Zelda 1, Breath of the Wild captured it and did it tenfold. And so Zelda Breath of the Wild encompasses what Zelda 1 used to be to me. Breath of the Wild has done that to me now. So anyways, guys, I just wanted to come in and talk about some of my favorite video games of all time, just personal ones to me, a lot of nostalgic ones in there for sure. What are some of your favorite top 10 video games of all time? Let me know down below. So anyways, guys, until next time.